My name is Enriqueta Belandra, and I am the president of AdFed Suncoast this year. And we have a lot of fun. Thank you. Our board is working on a lot of fun things. We're trying to plan events. We're working on our Addies this year, our American Advertising Awards. We've got a lot of good stuff saved up, so we'll start releasing that as we go. But tonight we have a wonderful speaker. Our guest this evening is Gayle Williams, owner of Vision Marketing and Website Design. After receiving her undergraduate degree in music, German, and international studies with a minor in marketing from Baldwin Wallace College, Gayle went on to earn a master's in adult learning and development and pursued further studies in communication and organizational development. Following a stint as a liaison for the U.S. State Department's International Visitor Program, Gayle enjoyed working in international education administration at Hiram College and Cleveland State University in Ohio before moving back to Sarasota in her home state of Florida in 1996. In Sarasota, Gayle served as the marketing director for what is now the Sarasota Orchestra, development director for the Women's Resource Center, and VP for business development at Design Marketing Group before starting Vision Marketing in 2008. At various points, Gayle has been active in Florida Public Relations Association and AdFed, even serving as the PR chair on the District 4 board in 2011. Gayle is a classically trained orchestral flutist, enthusiastic tango dancer, and music critic for the Sarasota Herald Tribune. As an active member of Toastmasters International, Gayle's witty, award-winning speech, Gayle Without the I, set the standard of speech-making excellence. In Toastmasters, Gayle has been recognized with the Distinguished Toastmaster Award, President's Distinguished Division Leader, and as 2017 District 48 Toastmaster of the Year. An accomplished website designer and astute marketer, Gayle has presented professional workshops about digital marketing best practices around the country, including at WordPress WordCamps in Philadelphia, Atlanta, Miami, Dallas, and Seattle. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Gayle Williams.
Thank you very much, Enriqueta, and thank you to all of you. It's so great to be back within the AdFed circle. It's been a while, but I'll tell you, life has changed, hasn't it? Who knew? Who knew that within a span of 6-7 months, we would go from working with people face to face in normal ways and suddenly have to do everything online and by Zoom. We didn't even know what Zoom was. Now we're Zoom ninjas. It's crazy. But I'll tell you, I remember, and I know we can still look at the YouTube evidence of some of the early real bad bloopers. You know, people forgetting that their video is on and carrying their phone into places where we shouldn't go. And so we've learned, hopefully we've all learned not to do things like that. I had my own funny thing happen early on. You are looking at my office right here, but at first I didn't have the screen blocking me off from the rest of the office. And my husband would come home from work late afternoon, and I happened to be on a Zoom call with several other people, as it happened, all women. My husband came home, he took a shower, and then he decided to duck into Gayle's office to give her a kiss. So he walked up to me, and my friends basically saw a naked man walking up to me, giving me a kiss, and walking out. Now, I knew he had on a towel, but they couldn't see that. Yeah. I had to have a talk with him and explain to him what was going on when I was sitting at my desk talking to my computer screen. He doesn't do that anymore, although sometimes anyway. But we've all learned how to be online, and we've become pretty comfortable with it. But there are still some issues. What if you have to be the speaker or manage a meeting or really be the person that the focus is on? How many of you talk to clients and have to have persuasive meetings with clients on Zoom? You want to be professional and polished and persuasive. Well, here's the good news, that although Zoom has kind of changed the turf and everything's a little different. It really isn't. When it comes right down to the basics of public speaking and presentation, the basics still will carry you to success. And so I'm going to be talking about a lot of those basics, but I'm also going to be talking about what has changed. I'm going to share with you how to manage the stage, how to manage the message, what to say, how to say it, and then how to really hone your craft. Now, does that sound good? Is everyone ready for that? Is that what you signed up for? I sure hope so. Great. So what has changed? Instead of standing up in the conference room or in front of on a stage in front of people, we're now perhaps sitting at our desk looking at a screen. And that's our stage. And when it comes right down to it, it's essentially a film production. And at this point, I'm going to have Christina Maxud talk. No, but it is a film production. Think about it. We need to pay attention to our camera angle. What's the composition of this screen in front of us? The lighting, the contrast, the sound, and those naked husband interruptions. Or hopefully no interruptions. So first, let's talk about the camera angle. Now, if you look at my screen, what you're seeing here is I'm looking straight ahead, and the camera is pretty much eye level. It's actually just a hair above eye level, and that works pretty well. I have it positioned so that when I'm looking at the screen and I'm getting to look at all of your faces, it actually looks like I'm making eye contact with you. That's hard to do when your screen is down low, down high, off to the side. Manage your stage so that you can get this type of angle. I'll tell you, when you're on a laptop, very often the look is like this. You know, wait, no, yeah, very often it's like this. And you're looking up at someone's ceiling fan. We don't want to see that. We also don't want to have, let me see if I can do this, the Kilroy look, which is, hi, my computer screen is pretty high on my desk and I have made no adjustment for it. That's not very nice either. I'm seated on my chair with my feet flat on the ground because that's going to help me with my vocal production. And I'm looking straight forward and talking to you. That's good use of the camera angle and my placement on the screen. Actually, now I'm not really happy with that. There, that makes me feel better. I've had a number of compliments on the teak, the carved teak screen behind me. Well, not everyone has a carved teak screen. However, let me tell you why I put that there. One, I'm in a home office and there are bookcases back behind me, a closet door, my planning board, my planning whiteboard. You don't want to see all of that, and it would distract you from actually making eye contact with me and having a good, clear communication. So I put the screen there. It also provides a good contrast from what I'm wearing, my particular hair color, and the screen. So it makes it easy for you to focus on me because it's all about me. But seriously, you do want to make it very easy for someone to focus on you and your message. So think about the contrast. Think even about what you're wearing. I choose to wear darker colors because when I wear a lighter color, I once wore beautiful lime green. Well, it made my skin look yellow. My lighting is pretty simple. I have the overhead light on, and I happen to be seated in front of a window that has blinds, so it's a soft light. You could also get a soft light, and Christina and I were talking about this, by having another, maybe a tablet, or if you have a laptop or something, another computer screen open in front of you to a white page that gives you a soft light. You can even see some of that reflected in my glasses. But it's down low, so it doesn't really reflect in my glasses. And it gives me a soft light. You can also invest in a ring light. Those are nice as well. I happen to not need it. You can also have a reading lamp. You can't really see my reading lamp. I have a reading lamp off to the side, and sometimes I've used that. Experiment with your lighting and make sure that it is conducive to people seeing you clearly, and you don't want to be washed out or a strange color. Camera angle, lighting, screen composition, sound and interruptions. We've already talked about it. Try to close the door so your husband, your wife, your cat, your dog, your children don't run in while you're presenting. And turn off all devices. These are simple rules. These are just basic rules, but it's a long list if you think about it. Be prepared before you make a professional presentation. All right, are you ready for us to talk about, we've managed the stage, now we're going to manage the message. When you are preparing a presentation, one of the first things you want to make sure is very clear, and that is, what's your primary goal for the presentation? Usually it falls into 3 buckets. Your presentation is to inform or educate. Your presentation could be to persuade. That's often what we're doing in the advertising world and the agency world. We're talking with a client and we want to be informative and persuade. But we also, the third category or goal could be simply to entertain or inspire. In this conversation today, I'm informing, but I do want to inspire you to take action and to become absolute pros in your presentations. I also want to ask, why is my message important to my audience? I know that all of you are professionals. You're members of AdFed, so I know something about your professions, and I know you have to communicate quite a lot. And in these times, you're being asked to communicate on Zoom, so you want to make sure you're doing it well. Then, when you look at what you are saying, the content of your presentation, you want to have a beginning, middle, and end. It's that simple. You've heard the axiom, tell them what you're going to say it, then tell them what you told them. It's true. It's just like the outline for an essay that we learned in school. An essay has an introduction, an exposition, in which usually you have 2, 3, 4 points that you are trying to make, and then you have a conclusion. Almost every speech that I give can be broken down into that type of outline, and it sure makes it easier for me to deliver it and to have it memorized if I have that outline. But you know, it also makes it a lot easier for your audience if you tell them what the outline is, and then you remind them as you're going through the outline what signpost you're at. And then at the end, you summarize by saying, these were the signposts. It's very cut and dried, but it's an incredible art form. And the art is in how you say it as much as what you say. I will add a couple of other fine points to the structure. There are some tricks that we use in the professional speaking biz, which are very easy to implement. Think of a repetitive phrase that would be useful for you. Keep coming back to it. It's called a callback. Call back to that repetitive phrase. It could be something as, I know you can become a great Zoom speakers. I know you can. And I would repeat this as I'm talking about managing your message. I know you can. Manage your stage. I know you can. That is something that then as people walk out, they're going, I know I can. It's a level of art. Another one is to bookend a speech, where you start off with an image or an example, and then at the end, you come back to that image and example. Like you thought of it, you brought it into your listeners' minds at the beginning, and then you clarified it. So it should sit in a different place in their mind and heart by the end. And it kind of ties in your key points. Every communication, every presentation should probably end with a call to action. Now we use calls to action all the time in marketing. And it's the same thing in a presentation. What do you want your audience to do or respond? How do you want them to respond to your message? That's what to say. Now we go on to how to say it. I'm a musician, so sometimes I look at this as a sound picture, it's a literary picture, it's words, it's all of that. How many of you have heard a speaker who's really kind of talking in a monotone way and they're kind of low and not much energy, and they're just presenting the facts, and it's mind-numbingly boring, right? You bring your energy to the message. Just pull it up. I think of pulling it up from below, from your gut, from your heart, and speaking directly to your audience with that enthusiasm, some form of passion or enthusiasm. Get their buy-in with your energy. You want to use clear, simple language. Don't fall into jargon or being overly verbose. If you're speaking within the industry, sure, you probably will use some jargon, but tame it down. Even the people who use the jargon get tired of the jargon, don't they? Then you think of your voice as an instrument. You want to have vocal variety. Again, not that monotone. You get a little louder, or you lean in and you get a little softer. You pace yourself. You add some pauses. And then you surprise them with something that's really right in your face, such as a key message or a key aha. Think about how you are molding the energy of your presentation in those ways. A real challenge on Zoom is, how do we use body language? It used to be, if you're standing in front of a room, you could move around, you can go to one side, the other, go forward, go back, all sorts of things. But here we are. I'm in a chair, I'm in front of a screen, I can only go so far. But you probably have noticed in the time that I've been speaking to you that I've used my hands. I've gone 1, 2, 3. I've done things like this. I've really tried to be dynamic because that keeps your attention. Body language is important, volume, pace, vocal variety, all of it. But you know what the number one, I don't know, I'll say it's my number one pet peeve about speakers who maybe are not on the top of their game? It's probably, you've heard it. You know, so I'm trying to get to a point, and you know, it's like, how many filler words have I just used? And actually, it's just really damaging to use to pepper your language with unnecessary words and sounds. It's a nervous habit. That's all it is. It's a habit that we fall into because, honestly, I think it's because we're afraid of the silence. I'm supposed to be speaking and I can't remember what I'm going to say next, so I'm gonna fill the time with my voice. The alternative to this, if I'm speaking to you and I totally forget what my next point is, I can come up with it in that space of silence. If I allow myself to be quiet. Did you all feel that maybe you leaned in a little bit? You were really listening to me a little closer? So then when I do say something, you're like, that. But don't put the pressure on yourself. Sometimes when you've lost your train of thought and you're silent, you might have to say, we're going to go on to the next piece. And you skip a point. But don't be afraid of the silence. There's actually a power to the pause, a real power to the pause. So eliminate those filler words and know that there's power in the pause. We've talked about how to manage the stage, how to manage the message, what to say, how to say it, using your voice as an instrument. Breathing. I didn't mention breathing. Breathe. It's always a good thing. Ground yourself and breathe from your stomach, from your diaphragm. That's going to help you calm yourself, build confidence, and speak. But the number one way to improve your speaking skills, I have to say, the number one word, it's just one word, and that's Toastmasters. And if you haven't heard what Toastmasters is, let me tell you, it's been around for over 90 years. And it's an organization, it's a membership organization. You join a chapter, just like AdFed. You join a chapter and we meet every week. Right now we're meeting on Zoom. But it's like, it's an experiential learning circle. It's a group of like-minded professionals, usually professionals. We have some retirees. It's really wonderful, but usually professional men and women who want to build their public speaking skills, their communication skills, their leadership skills. And Toastmasters International prides itself as the #1 professional and leadership development organization in the world. There are chapters all over the world. It's international. I have attended Toastmaster meetings in India, in Mumbai, and in Bengaluru. And it's just like here. I've attended Toastmasters meetings in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And it's this wonderful circle of learners. We all help each other. We go through a curriculum of practicing, learning these speaking skills, practicing these speaking skills, and evaluating each other and helping and mentoring each other. I joined Toastmasters in 2013. I was already a good speaker. I felt confident. I had to teach university courses. I'm fine. I got in there and thought, whoa, there's a lot more to this than I ever thought. And to be honest, even though I could get up in front of a group of people and I could do it, I had this collection of chipmunks, something in my head that would all scramble around going, what do we say next? What do we say next? When I was speaking. And it always felt a little unsteady. I could keep speaking. I could teach, but I never felt calm, grounded, and fully confident and in control of my message until I've been practicing in Toastmasters. If you would like to explore Toastmasters, and I really am not doing this as a big commercial, but it's one of the most cost-effective ways. I think my membership is coming up, it's $40. And we have all sorts of online resources, but you can visit any Toastmasters chapter and just experience it and explore the opportunity. The way to find a chapter near you is to go on toastmasters.org and put in your zip code. And if you put in a Sarasota zip code, for example, you'll find about, well, Sarasota and Bradenton, about 20 chapters. There might be a fewer now, but 15, 20 chapters that meet. I think there still are some morning groups, but my chapter meets on noon on Wednesdays. It's the Sarasota Herald Tribune Toastmasters Club. There are chapters that meet in the evening. And it's a great way to polish your skills. I'll tell you something else it does for people. It gives you an opportunity to find your voice. I joined because I wanted to be talking more about marketing and digital marketing and things that had to do with my business. But what the joy that I discovered was I could deliver a speech and be really funny. And I could tell stories about my life and my observations and have people just rolling. And there was so much joy in that. And any of you may have those talents in you. You might find that you're just really good at explaining things and you love to get up and you want to start teaching history. Or you just want to be very, very good in front of your clients and make more money because you're more persuasive. There's nothing wrong with that. So I think with that, I've gone over my 20 minutes and we're open for questions if you have any.
Yes, does anybody have any questions for Gayle? Yes, Jamie, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask.
Thank you, Gayle. That was excellent. You were talking about being persuasive, and you had some wonderful bullet points of using your voice as an instrument. Do you have bullet points on call, on demand in your head for persuasion, in addition to the way you are commanding the space?
Well, with persuasion, it's largely, it's understanding your audience and kind of knowing what it's like sales. What are their pain points? What are they wanting? What might be the emotional trigger that you're trying to touch upon? I would say in persuasion, it varies on what it is you're trying to persuade someone to do. You know, it might be a very heartfelt, persuasive, inspirational speech. Like, don't miss any minute. You know, I gave a speech once about what to do when you find out that a loved one has a terminal disease, you know, just how to make the most of every moment. And that was persuasive. My big call to action was be present. Be present and don't let any minute go by.
Nice.
So, and that's going to be very different than I'm talking to someone about why they need a website that is built on WordPress. So I'd have to really think about that for more.
That was a good answer, though.
Hi, I'm cooking, so I'm not showing. I'm definitely doing this wrong because I'm cooking right now, so that's why I'm not in the video. Hello, Gayle. Thank you. It was a beautiful presentation. The question I have, which maybe now you can hear with my voice, is how to keep the tempo on the voice. Like when you're doing a presentation, I tend to, I don't think only me, a lot of people tend to sometimes start very nice, the presentation, and then when they get to a point, they get too excited and start talking too fast. So how do you, I mean, tips or tricks for the brain to practice that?
Well, breathing, thinking about breathing and grounding yourself, because usually we start talking fast because we're nervous and we keep going. And we also feel that we need to fill the time. so it becomes like this. So if you've prepared in advance and you have your points, and I'll tell you, if you're speaking and you have notes in front of you, I will say that now that we're on Zoom, it's very easy to have notes in front of me, and you don't know that I have notes. If I'm standing in front of you at a lectern and I have my notes in front of me, you see it. But I could even write in my notes, pause, breathe. Write it, just pause, breathe. And the other way is if you were a member of a Toastmaster group, your co-members would be sharing with you, slow down, we can't understand you.
Yes, yeah, that's
a
problem I have with the accent, and then I get nervous and thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. We have a lot of people who have English as their second language in my particular chapter, and it's a real joy to see people just become experts in communicating professionally in a second language, which my second, third languages are not all that great. I could not give a speech in them. No.
Yeah, me neither. Thank you.
You're welcome. Who? No.
Kristen Lilly had a question.
Kristen.
Yes. Hi, everybody. I do clothing, but a lot of times I will do virtual showings for people. So I'm doing some Zooms with customers. Is it appropriate to walk in and out of frame, or would I better just say, hey, let's communicate when I can have everything on frame? I'm just concerned about losing attention span and things like that with going on and off.
I would keep your clothing as close by as possible, and if it's close by, if it's a matter of, all right, the next outfit I'm going to show is here, that's okay. Especially you're one-on-one, you don't have to have everything on stage. I think it's okay. So any other questions about, so who would like to go visit a Toastmasters club?
I think it would be interesting.
I would love it. I would love it. If you are available on Wednesdays at noon, I could send you a link, or go on Toastmasters.org and look for something that's near you. Of course, with us meeting on Zoom, it doesn't have to be near you. It used to be that I joined the club that met 2 blocks from my office in downtown Sarasota. I could just walk to the meeting on my lunch break. But now we just hop on Zoom. So I can absolutely invite any of you to my chapter if you're interested.
What do you do if you live in the middle of nowhere?
Well, with Zoom, you can join almost any chapter. As long as you have an internet connection. And actually, there are going to be more Zoom-only Toastmaster groups, because I think we've all learned that we can make use of our time better, not having to fight the traffic driving somewhere. We don't necessarily have to be sitting around a table having lunch together. We can meet on Zoom. And I think a lot of organizations are going to stay with this Zoom format.
That would be nice. I think it's definitely more achievable for some people.
Right. I see 2. So Isabel and Jamie again. Isabel? Yeah, Isabel.
You had mentioned 3 things in the beginning. One was to tell them what you're going to say, and 2 was to say it, and 3 was what? How did you phrase that? I didn't catch that.
Well, it's tell them what you're going to say, tell them,
I got that.
and then tell them what you said. So I actually did this at the beginning. I said, I'm going to be talking about how to manage the stage, how to manage the message, and then how to say it, what to say and how to say it, and how to improve. And then as I went through each stage, I tried to say where I was. And then at the end, I believe I said, and manage the stage, manage the message. And I summed it up before my final call to action.
Okay.
Yeah. Jamie, I think Jamie's waving her hand.
Yeah, I am. You know, I just learned how to do this screen thing, and it's weird. One thing that if I can add a little tip for Isabel, that is, if you're going to start to do a lot of Zoom or e-communications like this, invest in a good mic, because you were very choppy and broken the way we heard you. So if you were commanding a presentation, you might want to invest in a better mic. So that was something that I just recognized on that one. And I have a question for you specifically, Gayle, with marketing trends. We are all praying that this Corona thing will pass very soon. Do you feel like marketing trends are going to be more electronic now as compared to you know, driving across town for your meeting?
Mm-hmm. I absolutely. I think all of my clients are just like, how can we use online tools to their best advantage?
Mm-hmm.
And we may be out of, you know, who knows when we'll pull out of all of this. But and I don't know about how you all feel, but I was talking with a friend the other day. We're saying we can't imagine getting on a subway car packed with everybody again in our lives without having second thoughts. Mm-hmm. You know, how are we going to be? I watched a travel video and people were bending over to kiss the Blarney Stone, and I said, "Oh no, I would never do that." We are all hyper aware of germs, so yeah, we'll probably go back to shopping and go back to having meetings with people. But if we can maybe do less of that, I think a lot of people will feel more comfortable with it. And what I love is, even before this happened, we had the capability to turn our digital presence into a kind of a 24/7 sales team. We had that capability, but not every business was open to that. They were thinking, no, I want them to come in my store, you know, or I know I need to meet with them in person. A lot of small businesses felt that way, but now they're thinking, oh, really? I can have people schedule their appointments online. You can have things automated. That's the way of the future. If it's not, I mean, it's already here. I mean, that's actually, for any of us, we're in marketing. Any other thoughts along those lines? Am I off track?
It just feels like that is really the way of the future.
Yeah.
And if you don't get on board with this ability to communicate, you might be left in the dust.
I will say that for the printer in our group, I know we have a printer. I don't think print is dead, but I think we're going to be using it very carefully or in different ways, because we still love, I know I do, I love getting something that I can have my hands on. And so you can still make a very strong impact with a good printed piece.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what you're saying is true. The technology, last 6 months, the technology has jumped 10 years, like quickly. Suddenly, everything is, you can do it over the phone, you can do automated, you can do everything now. The payment is quick. You can even just with the chip quickly. So everything just being speeded up. And it's true, print is not dead. The print is going to continue. You're still home, so you still want to get something from something that you can hold. So,
right.
Yeah.
In fact, we can really stand out if we have that, just the right mix of digital communications, automated communications, and then a really personal, a greeting card from someone, you know, in the mail with a stamp on it. And keep your customers happy that way. It's exciting. It's an exciting time to be in the business that we're in. It's tiring. I found the last 6 months exhausting in many ways. But who isn't exhausted right now? Unless they're out of a job, which is exhausting in another way.
Yeah, you are now at home. You do more stuff. It's don't stop.
Yeah, my house is cleaner than it's ever been.
Oh, you're lucky. My case.
It's the stress cleaning, you know.
Let's see.
All right, are there any more questions for Gayle before we finish up? No? All right, well, if everybody can just give Gayle a big round of applause. We really appreciate her taking her time this evening to talk to us and be with us. We really appreciate you, Gayle.
Thank you so much.
Yes, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Gayle.
Thanks.
And for the rest of the group, if you want to learn more about AdFed Suncoast, you can follow us on Facebook. That is where we update all of our events and fun things. So come join us there and see what we're up to in the next couple of months. All right?
Okay.
All right. Well,
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
And thank you for the invite, Christina.
Thank you. You guys have a great night.
Bye.
Good evening.
Yeah.